All it is notice.
Yeah.
We're putting you on notice, we don't like what you're doing,
Yeah.
right? And it's a plea to stop doing it.
As enforceable as
But it doesn't have
a
to.
resolution just as enforceable as an ordinance.
Excuse me?
The court said it is, yes.
So a resolution is just as enforceable as an ordinance.
Yeah, yeah, but then go try it.
But it's not.
They'll say
It's
that,
not
but then go try it, and they'll say, well, this is a resolution, this isn't a
Right.
statute, this isn't an enactment. It's not, it has to be positively enacted, which is what a bill is, it's positively
That's
enacted.
right.
It's positive law. And that's, and they're just gonna look at you with you can carry a resolution in there. Remember, our enemies in this are as much the judges as anything else.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, when you have a Supreme Court justice who says, I see nothing in the US Constitution that would lead me to use it as a source for a modern constitution.
But you need term limits on those guys.
Justice Ginsburg.
Ginsburg, and she also went on to say, she said, we have to start looking outside of the bounds of our country
Oh, yeah.
and going into international law, and we have to go to other countries and see what they're doing so that we can all be on the same page.
I have absolutely no idea how anybody could be fooled that even at the level of Supreme Court justice, that we don't have a serious problem when a sitting justice makes those statements.
Exactly.
Okay, I mean, and all of the bad decisions, you know, from Kalo decision to the Citizens United saying that companies are people, right? I mean, this is how we've gotten ourselves in such, and well, not us. I mean, the lawyers and all these idiot elected officials that we've had from the past, we've gotten ourselves into such a damn mess, right? That disentangling this it's not, I don't ever claim that this is going to be easy. But number one, it is doable if you just start doing it. And the hardest problem we have is to start getting enough people, and to stop, and to actually make, at a certain point, when I get pushback, especially for people who they're not like this group, they're not activists, they're like run-of-the-mill rhino Republicans trying to just understand what's going on.
We're the new activists.
Yeah, and I look at it and they get pushed back and they go, well, you can't upset the system like that. And I'm going, the system you're talking about isn't even supposed to be the system. That's the real problem.
Look
You
at the
keep
UK
looking at
Sharia.
Huh?
Look at the mess that the UK has with Sharia law.
Right, you keep looking at it as some kind of legitimate system. It's the first thing to get out of their mind is the upside down inverted, perverted system that we have is not the system. It was never founded this way, it was never formed this way, nor organized. It has been turned completely upside down. And the fact that we're still operating at all shows the strength that was put into the original formation that they've spent the last 150 years trying to tear into little pieces. And it still has some semblance of existence. It still has some ability to slow down and delay because they are afraid to completely overstep too far at once in too big an increment because it'll be too noticeable. And that's what we have to start pushing back against.
Jeff, are we at a place that we could talk about what we can do with our Attorney General in restoring the rule of law? And, I'm seriously looking at fraud charges. Everything that in every one of their institutions, every single one of them smack a fraud, and they carry all 5 elements of fraud. So are we at a point in the meeting right now where we could discuss?
Oh, yeah, we can, this is basically, now I was gonna open up and say, what do you want, so this is basically the point.
What do you think about
Well, first thing is you're talking about the office of the Attorney General, not the specific person of the Attorney General, because he's out of office after this year anyway.
I'm talking about going to them with a formal complaint or going to the district
Right, you're
attorney.
talking about
I wrote a complaint yesterday to the Inspector General about the BLM.
Yeah, well, I would start, one of the first things you learn in the military is the easiest way to keep things on track is use the chain of command. So the first thing you go through is your district attorney.
Right,
Start with your district attorney, then go, if you don't get satisfaction out of your district attorney, then go to your attorney general.
well, see, and that comes down to the grand jury, how we could get the district attorney. And if we carry the complaint to the DA, then he can form a grand jury and indict whoever it is that we want indicted, whether
Right.
it's the BLM field manager or what. What do you think about that?
Well,
A good
yeah,
direction?
and it goes in accordance and consequence with the development of ordinances by the county commissioners, so that you can make specific acts that the BLM manager has done as against direct positive law that's been enacted by continuing in these behaviors. So you not only have the general indictment, you have the specific indictment to follow.
Right.
Okay, so these things work hand in hand.
Do you like the idea
I
of
love
that?
the idea. I love the idea.
Okay.
You got, the thing is you gotta sit down with your local district attorney,
Right.
right? And you've got to get him educated to the point, and because most of these guys are system attorneys, they're extremely hard, they're some of the hardest brains to penetrate on this
Well,
issue.
we got rid of our guy here in Grand Junction. We got rid of Furs, or no, what was he called? The DA here in Grand Junction, what was he called that just left? Lyle Deschamps. And now the other guy, who are they putting in next?
We don't, they're looking for a constitutional attorney, I can answer that for
Okay.
Mesa County. They have been interviewing people, they have not selected one yet.
Are you talking about county attorney,
So, but
County attorney.
how did they get rid of Deschamps? What did they do?
Deschamps was encouraged to retire early. But I
I
don't
believe that might have been because of 21 and a half, where they use it on.
Some of the easiest ways, we found this out in Colorado Springs. Some of the easiest ways to turn over the apple cart in city and county government is by digging into the budget and really understanding their budget. Because usually when you find where all the budget bodies are buried, that's when you really start having control over city councils and county commissions.
That's why they also make it so damn complicated.
Exactly. You have, yeah. I'll tell you what, I probably, before we took any of the first actions back in the 90s in Colorado Springs, I probably studied the CAFR and the city budget. There are two distinct things, you understand that, I think. There's CAFR, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, and the city budget as passed, the published budget, are two entirely different things. But when you start to understand and you start to line them up against each other, you start figuring out what the hell is going on here. And when you figure out what's going on, we started stopping everything that they were doing based on our knowing the city budget better than the city councilman. And when we started the more we pointed those things out in public, well, in 1 year, this is at the height in '97, I got good enough at it. That was the year I did the Just Say No campaign. And myself and 15 other people, we called it the Just Say No to New Taxes campaign. Myself and 15 other people, and because we were beginning to educate the public on this as well, and that's when they really freaked out. 15 people and 120,000 flyers. We saturated the county with some little half-sheet flyers explaining we killed $1.3 billion in new city and county taxes in one fell swoop. 8 for 8 went down, and that's when things really got ugly for me, because now you've really ticked off everybody from the city to the state level with Tabor and this and that's. And I got the reporter from the Gazette came over. I got my picture on the front page, and next day I looked at the paper and I go, you know, that was probably a mistake. But the thing is that, you know what? It was years before they tried again, and they stopped doing a lot of the stupid crap. And every time, then you start to put them in the training mode. Every time they start to do something stupid, and after you start getting them trained, you don't have nearly as much problem. But some of the ways you get control over these other issues is getting control over the budgetary issues.
The camouflage in government accounting is astounding.
Yep. It's
We
really,
have been our county, a county manager that makes more than the governor, and that doesn't count all the other crap that he gets, like housing subsidy, an automobile. Oh, it has to be a special automobile that, you know, and it has to be taken to Denver once every month to have to be serviced, and he has to take it, and he has to stay over while he waits for it to get repaired and have meals, live in the finest hotel. And
Do you have lots of little neighborhood papers? Do you have lots of little neighborhood publication papers and that?
we have one paper in Gunnison.
Okay, so the Sentinel is
And
it.
it's a very liberal.
Right,
leading
yeah,
paper.
well, I've sent letters to the Sentinel to get published, but usually they actually, I'm surprised, they've published quite a few of my letters over the years, but, yeah, and we use the local little, publications, the Business Journal, the neighborhood, you know, over there, it's like the Cheyenne Canyon Review, all these little neighborhood publications. We send out all kinds of stuff through them. We constantly hit with little items, right? You know, look what we're spending on the city manager, the county executive, whatever. All that kind of stuff. And just ping and ping and ping from all directions. And you don't think it has any effect until you get up to the next election, and all of a sudden, boom, they get shocked. Because you've done all these little things under the radar that they didn't even see coming. There's all kinds of little special tools and things that you can use to constantly keep those issues like that in front of people and make those comparisons. You know, I usually send like sarcastic letters, you know. My goodness, how could we possibly pay the city manager more than the governor? We have such a valuable governor. And they publish these, you know, because they think they're, you know, you just do, I mean, even short one-liners, but those stick with people, right? And they start, and pretty soon that issue bubbles up and it festers in the background, and all of a sudden it boils over, and then you can go in front of the city council publicly and start lambasting the city manager, the county executive, whoever the official is, right? And people are all of a sudden showing up, you know, you post a message, and all of a sudden you got 20, 30 people showing up there and going, yeah, why are you making, you know, where's all this money going? And it really has an effect. But there's all these little tricks that you use in order to generate that kind of visibility.
Then they demonize you.
Huh?
They demonize you, and if you're in business, boy.
Yeah, I understand. Believe me, I understand. I mean,
All they can do is talk.
and they do that. Thank God.
The left loves to punish.
Thank God, most of my consulting business was state, because I certainly was not going to get any in the state. And when I went out for venture funding, oh boy, I found out exactly how because there was 3 or 4 developers that we had a tech venture I started in after I left New York. I was starting a software venture. And I had people tell me point blank, told that, you know, if they invested money in my software venture, they'd be ostracized. Local real estate developers who wanted to get into some startup tech investing. I mean, just point blank. Yeah, I understand. Well, like I said, if it was easy, it wouldn't be liberty. Because liberty is always hard, and it's just part of the game.
Founding fathers had businesses like jobs and farms and social life and things like that.
I'm sorry?
So the founding fathers had
Right.
businesses, farms, ranches, jobs, teaching, schools, social lives, so forth and so on. Interestingly enough, when they signed the Declaration of Independence, that was not the first thing on their mind.
Right.
So if we're going to be part of some movement,
Well, the key thing,
fortune, sacred honor.
yeah, but see, we have an advantage over them, is you can build headless organizations now with the internet. See, this is the key, because even then they had to build some kind of hierarchical organizations in order to counter the hierarchical organizations. Now you can build flat, fully, you know, with the technology tools and things we have in place. Yeah, there's going to be some spokesman, but the thing is, it shouldn't be just one spokesman always standing up and saying the same thing. It's deploying the Delphi technique in public discourse, where you have persons pop up here, all over the place in the virtual world, and in the publication and newsmaking world, that are not centering things on one person or one organization or one group. If you were to go out and start some kind of, Douglas and I used to set up 5 different organizations, and it'd be just me and him.
Well,
Right,
Jim's funny.
and then we would go out and find somebody who wasn't connected anyway, and that use their name, write something up, and release it as a public information release of that organization. Okay, we had 200 or 300 people speaking on issues, right? I probably had 10 pseudonyms that I was getting letters published in the Gazette. You can extend, and the Sentinel and all over the state. I've probably been publishing 50 different names in this state, in different newspapers.
I wouldn't have considered that.
You have to really start thinking really creatively, right? What you can do and how to magnify your power and effect. Because it's really amazing, as I said, you can take, I think for, how many organizations, I think for the Just Say No campaign I created in the city and county, I created 6 different, they weren't formal organizations. They were, if somebody comes up and asks, well, it's just a free association organization. No, it's not a corporate organization. There's no paperwork filed on this. It's just a group of people that came together, right? We called ourselves Citizens for Good Government. And then the spokesman, right, and they write something up in the name, and they're getting all these press releases and coming from all these different directions, and there's 3 people involved. Yes, sir.
This is what we're doing with our Public Lands Access Group. We're just an association of private citizens, so I'm thinking that's
You're better off.
pretty much
You know,
what you're
Did everybody hear the case of Southern Colorado Tea Party? The complaint that was filed by Ali Hassan's father to try and, because they came out and made contributions to his opponents when he was running for treasurer or whatever, state treasurer or whatever it was. Well, his father sued, and I told him when they started up, I said, don't form yourself as a formal political organization, because I said when you form the Southern Colorado Tea Party, I said, because you're going to subject yourself to campaign finance law. And I went, well, yeah, but we have to. I said, what do you mean you have to? You can be a free association organization, and you can collect money and you can contribute money, and you just always do it as individuals, right? And say, as part of Southern Colorado Tea Party. But, you know, oh, no. They went to an attorney, and the attorney told them, no, you have to file this. You know, 501c, so, you know, they filed it. Guess what? When they had no choice then, but when the Office of Administrative Courts filed the campaign finance complaint against them, they were a formal organization subject to campaign finance law. And so the money that they contributed, right, they couldn't, that was against state law, right? And so they got hit, and so the principal officers got hit with fines. And I said, you're better off, it's just like when you sign your driver's license. You're actually better to drive with or when you don't file your tax return, right? These people that sign, I said, if you're going to do that, don't sign a blank return, because once you've signed, you've agreed to the contract, and you have jurisdiction now extended over to you. If you don't agree to have the jurisdiction extended over to you, they can't extend it. So don't sign or get into formal organizations or formal creations that cause you to fall under somebody's jurisdiction. You have, you know, they rely on the fact that you don't understand, most people don't understand, you do retain more rights as an individual if you keep them instead of giving them away. But that's what people do, is they give them away unknowingly by submitting to these formal organizations and things, and now they don't have near the power that they would have had. Yes.
Regarding this issue now, this church is incorporated under the laws of Colorado and also 501c3. We'd be better off if we were something else, wouldn't we? We unincorporated.
That's the whole problem that's happened with freedom of religion in this country, is the churches themselves have given up their freedom and put themselves under the control of the government.
Absolutely.
We did it unwittingly.
Unwittingly.
Yeah.
Thinking you were doing something good or correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dissolving
Yeah, dissolve it and go back to being a free
501c3 status,
association.
whatever it is, and become an association.
Remain a First Amendment church.
Wow.
And you're gonna, like I said, they're gonna fight you, they're gonna fight